No, no, no.
Hey, look! People that Republican in China. We can turn this speed.
What's the major? I'm trying to look for a landing. So we have like, it's kind of funny. We have like several no, what's like a major landing? Mount Western, West Edmonton.
Hey, look, the galaxy. The galaxy that.
This is West Edmonton Mall. It's 23 miles. It's about 7 miles from West Edmonton.
Good morning, പ്രേക്ഷകന്മാരെ, മറ്റ് അധ്യാപകരെ. നമ്മുടെ പ്രാർത്ഥന ആരംഭിക്കാനായിട്ട്
അറിയിച്ചിട്ടുണ്ട്. അപ്പോൾ പുറത്ത് നിൽക്കുന്ന എല്ലാ ആളുകളും പ്രാർത്ഥനയ്ക്കായിട്ട് അകത്ത് ഇനി ആരെങ്കിലും രജിസ്റ്റർ ചെയ്യാനുണ്ടെങ്കിൽ നിങ്ങളിപ്പോൾ അവിടെ പുറത്തെ കൗണ്ടറിൽ രജിസ്റ്റർ ചെയ്യുക. അതോടൊപ്പം തന്നെ ആരെങ്കിലും ഭക്ഷണം കഴിക്കാനായിട്ടുണ്ടെങ്കിൽ നിങ്ങളത് വേഗത്തിൽ താഴെ പോയി ഭക്ഷണം കഴിച്ചിട്ട് വരണമെന്നുണ്ട്. ഇപ്പോൾ ചെയറിലായിട്ട് നിങ്ങൾ കയറി നിൽക്കുക. നമുക്ക് കോമൺ ആയിട്ട് ഉള്ള വേറെ നടക്കുന്നത് നിങ്ങളുടെ ചെയറുകളോട് നിങ്ങൾ അവിടെ ആയിട്ട് കയറിയിരുന്നു നമ്മള് ഓരോ ചെയറിലോട്ട് കയറി അമ്മായി കയറി ചേച്ചി മീൻ ചേച്ചി ഇരിക്കുന്നില്ല. ഓക്കെ, എന്നാ പിന്നെ മാക്സിമം മുന്നോട്ട് കയറി അപ്പൊ ഇത് കാണാൻ എളുപ്പമാകും. ഓൺ ആക്കിയോ?
ഞങ്ങൾക്ക് വേണ്ടി
ദൈവമേ രക്ഷിതാവുന്നു. ദൈവമേ രക്ഷിതാവുന്നു.
ചെയ്യണമേ. ഞങ്ങൾ താങ്കളുടെ ശുശ്രൂഷയും പ്രാർത്ഥനയും കൈക്കൊണ്ട് ഞങ്ങൾ
ദൈവമേ കർത്താവേ
കാരുണ്യവാനും ദൈവമായ കർത്താവേ, ഭയഭക്തിയോടെ നിന്റെ സന്നിധിയിൽ നിൽക്കുവാനും പ്രകാശത്തോടും വിശുദ്ധിയോടും കൂടെ നിന്നെ ശുശ്രൂഷിക്കാനും നിന്റെ നല്ല ഇഷ്ടപ്പെട്ടു നിന്നെ പ്രസാദിപ്പിക്കുവാനും ഞങ്ങളാക്കണമേ. ഞങ്ങളുടെ കർത്താവ് ഇന്നേക്കും ഞങ്ങളുടെ ആയുഷ്കാലം കൃപയും കരുണയും ഞങ്ങൾക്ക് ലഭിക്കുകയും ചെയ്യുവാനാമേ. ഞങ്ങളുടെ കർത്താവായ യേശുമിശിഹാ, നീ കുറ്റങ്ങളെ പരിഹരിക്കുന്നവനും അപകടങ്ങളെ മോചിക്കുന്നവനും അശുദ്ധരെ ശുദ്ധീകരിക്കുന്നവനും പാപങ്ങളെ മനസ്സിനെ സന്തോഷിക്കുന്നവനും അന്വേഷിച്ച് കണ്ടെത്തുന്ന നീ കൽപ്പിച്ചിട്ടുണ്ടല്ലോ. പ്രാർത്ഥിക്കും അകത്തെയും ചെയ്യുന്നവർക്ക് നീ മോചനം കൊടുക്കണമേ. കുറ്റക്കാർക്ക് പരിഹാരം കൊടുക്കണമേ. അന്യായക്കാർക്ക് തീർക്കണമേ. പാപികളോട് ചെതറിപ്പോയിരിക്കുന്നവരെ കൂട്ടി ചേർക്കണമേ. ദൂരസ്ഥരെ വിളിച്ചു വഴി തിരികെ കൊണ്ടുവരണമേ. അശുദ്ധരെ ശുദ്ധീകരിക്കണമേ. ധിക്കാരികളെ പരിപാകപ്പെടുത്തണമേ. ഞെരുക്കത്തിലിരിക്കുന്നവരെ ആശ്വസിപ്പിക്കണമേ. രോഗികളെ സുഖപ്പെടുത്തണമേ. മുറിവേറ്റിരിക്കുന്നവർക്ക് മരുന്ന് ചെയ്യണമേ. ബലഹീനരെ ബലപ്പെടുത്തണമേ. ഹൃദയവേദനയിലും മനോവിശ്വാസത്തിലും ഇരിക്കുന്നവരെ ആശ്വസിപ്പിക്കണമേ. വീണ് കിടക്കുന്നവരെ എഴുന്നേൽപ്പിക്കണമേ. അനാഥകളെ സ്വസ്ഥം കേൾക്കണമേ. വിധവകളെ പോറ്റപ്പെടുത്തണമേ. അനുതാപങ്ങളെ സന്തോഷിക്കണമേ. നീതിമാന്മാരുടെ കൂടെ വസിക്കണമേ. ശുദ്ധിമാന്മാർക്ക് കൂട്ടായിരിക്കണമേ. ബ്രഹ്മചാരികളെ ശുദ്ധിമാന്മാർക്ക് കൂട്ടായിരിക്കണമേ. നോമ്പുകാരെ കിരീടം ധരിപ്പിക്കണമേ. ശാന്തമുള്ളവരിൽ വസിക്കണമേ. താഴ്ന്നുള്ളവരോട് കൂടിക്കണമേ. ദൈവമായാൽ പാർക്കണമേ. കലഹങ്ങളെ ഒതുക്കണമേ. വഴക്കുകളെ നീക്കണമേ. യുദ്ധങ്ങളെ അടക്കണമേ. തർക്കങ്ങളെ നീക്കളയണമേ. ശണ്ഠകളെ ഇല്ലായ്മ ചെയ്യണമേ. നിന്റെ വിശുദ്ധ സഭയെ ഉയർത്തണമേ. അതിന്റെ പ്രജകൾക്ക് സമാധാനം വർദ്ധിപ്പിക്കണമേ. എല്ലാ സ്ഥലത്തും അതിനെ ഉയർത്തണമേ. എല്ലാ ഭാഗങ്ങളിലും അതിന്റെ ഭിത്തികളെ ഉറപ്പിക്കണമേ. അതിലെ ആചാര്യന്മാരെ ബഹുമാനിക്കണമേ. അതിലെ ശുശ്രൂഷകളെ ശോഷിപ്പിക്കണമേ. അതിലെ വായനക്കാരെ തിരിച്ചറിഞ്ഞവരാക്കണമേ. അതിലെ മലപ്പാന്മാരെ ജ്ഞാനമുള്ളവരാക്കണമേ. അതിൽ നിന്ന് വേദവിപരീതങ്ങളെയും തർക്കങ്ങളെയും വായിച്ചു കളയണമേ. അതിൽ നേർക്കും സമാധാനം വസിപ്പിക്കണമേ. അതിനെ സ്നേഹവും ഐക്യം കൊണ്ട് അർക്കണമേ. അതിനു വേണ്ടി കഷ്ടതകൾ സഹിക്കുന്നവരെ അതിന്റെ നിലനിൽപ്പിന് വേണ്ടി ഉത്സാഹിക്കുന്ന മക്കളക്കാരെയും അതിൽ നിയമിക്കണമേ. അതിന്റെ പ്രജകളുടെ പല പ്രകാരമുള്ള സംസാരാനും സകലമായങ്ങൾ കൊണ്ടും നാമങ്ങൾ കൊണ്ടും നിനക്ക് നിന്റെ പിതാവിനും നിന്റെ പരിശുദ്ധവായിക്കും എപ്പോഴും എല്ലായ്പ്പോഴും എന്നേക്കും ചേർച്ചയുടെ സ്തുതികൾ അത് കരയറ്റുകയും ചെയ്യുമാറാണമേ. ആമേൻ.
വൃത്തിയിടരുതേ ശുദ്ധിമതേ ഞങ്ങൾക്കായോ
ആർക്കരെ ഏകാത്മജനോട് സ്ത്രീക്കാം
ഒരുപോലെയോ മോറിയാക്കോ ബുർദോനോടെ
വിഘ്നോർമ്മ ഉലകളിൽ വിഘ്നാപനം ഓർമ്മയുള്ളവാനും ചോർക്കാം
പരിശുദ്ധന്മാർ
മാറ്റിപ്പിൻകാവോടായി പടകളെയും പടകളെയുമായി ചെയ്യണം.
ബർഗമൂർ പിതാവാം ദൈവത്തിന്റെ സ്നേഹവും ഏകജാതനായ പുത്രന്റെ കൃപയും ആശ്വസിപ്പിക്കുന്ന പരിശുദ്ധ സമതവാസം ദൈവമായ കർത്താവേ, ഞങ്ങൾ എല്ലാവരുടെ പേരും നിങ്ങളുടെ കൂടിയവരെ മേലും നടക്കുന്ന എല്ലാ ക്രമീകരണങ്ങളും മേലും പ്രത്യേക ഈ സൃഷ്ടിനെ നിയന്ത്രിക്കുവാനായി കടന്നു വന്നിരിക്കുന്ന അവിടുത്തെ മക്കളുടെ മേലും ഇവിടുത്തെ കരുണയും കൃപയും ഉണ്ടായിരിക്കുമാറാകണമേ. നമ്മുടെ പബ്ലിക് മീറ്റിംഗ് ഉച്ചയ്ക്കാണ് ക്രമീകരിച്ചിരിക്കുന്നത്. ആ സമയത്ത് ബാക്കി ഫോർമലായിട്ടുള്ള കാര്യങ്ങളൊക്കെ ക്രമീകരിക്കും. എങ്കിലും പള്ളിയുടെ ഭാഗത്ത് നിന്നുകൊണ്ട് നമ്മുടെ സെക്രട്ടറി ഒക്കെ ഉച്ചയ്ക്കത്തെ സെഷനിൽ സംസാരിക്കും. ഇപ്പോൾ ഒട്ടും സമയം കളയാതെ തന്നെ ഈ വെസ്റ്റേൺ റീജിയൻ, കാനഡ വെസ്റ്റേൺ റീജിയനിലെ സെൻട്രൽ സ്കൂൾ ടീച്ചേഴ്സ് ട്രെയിനിങ്ങിന്റെ ഈ സെഷൻ നമുക്ക് ആരംഭിക്കാം. ഇന്നിങ്ങനെ ഒരു കാര്യങ്ങൾ ഇവിടെ ക്രമീകരിക്കാനായിട്ട് ദൈവയുടെയാക്കിയതിനെ ദൈവത്തെ മുന്നമേ മഹത്വപ്പെടുത്തുന്നത്. നമുക്കറിയാം, വളരെ ദൂരമായിട്ടുള്ള സ്ഥലങ്ങളിലാണ് ഇവിടുത്തെ പള്ളികളെല്ലാം കിടക്കുന്നത്. എങ്കിൽ പോലും നമ്മുടെ പ്രൊവിൻസിലുള്ള ഇത്രയും സെന്റ് തോമസ് കാൽഗറി സെന്റ് തോമസ് ദേവാലയത്തിൽ നിന്നുള്ള പ്രതിനിധികൾ എത്തിയിട്ടുണ്ട്. അതോടൊപ്പം തന്നെ മറ്റ് ആളുകൾ ഓൺലൈനിൽ ജോലി ചെയ്യുന്നുണ്ടെന്ന് വിശ്വസിക്കുന്നു. അപ്പോൾ ഈ ഒരു ദിവസം നമുക്ക് ദൈവം ക്രമീകരിച്ച് മഹത്വപ്പെടുത്തുന്നു. ഇന്ന് ഇതിനു വേണ്ടി നേതൃത്വം നൽകാനായിട്ട് ഈ സെഷൻസ് കൈകാര്യം ചെയ്യാനായിട്ട് കടന്നു വന്നിരിക്കുന്ന എത്രയും പ്രിയപ്പെട്ട ജോർജ് അഹമ്മദ് സാർ, അതുപോലെ തന്നെ അതോടൊപ്പം തന്നെ നമ്മുടെ റീജിയൻ 5 സ്കൂളിന്റെ ഡയറക്ടറായിട്ട് വർക്ക് ചെയ്യുന്ന പ്രിയപ്പെട്ട റിൻസിയമ്മായി, പ്രിയപ്പെട്ട ശമാശന്മാര്, ഇവിടെ കടന്നു വന്നിരിക്കുന്ന മറ്റ് അധ്യാപകര്, അതോടൊപ്പം തന്നെ ടൊറന്റോയിൽ നിന്ന് കടന്നു വന്നിരിക്കുന്ന ജോയ് സാർ, ഇവരെല്ലാവരും ഞങ്ങളുടെ ഈ ദേവാലയത്തിന്റെ പേരിൽ, പ്രത്യേകിച്ച് ഞങ്ങളുടെ പള്ളിയുടെ വൈസ് പ്രസിഡന്റ് എബി നെല്ലിക്കൽ, സെക്രട്ടറി ബേസിൽ മാത്യു, ട്രഷറർ ജിമ്മി, അതോടൊപ്പം തന്നെ ഞങ്ങളുടെ സ്പിരിച്വൽ ഓർഗനൈസേഷൻസിന്റെ എല്ലാവരും ഇവിടെ ഉണ്ട്. ഞങ്ങളുടെ സെൻട്രൽ സ്കൂളിലെ അസിസ്റ്റന്റ് ഹെഡ് മിസ്സസ് അൻഡു ഇവിടെ ഉണ്ട്. എല്ലാവരുടെയും പേരിൽ ഈ കടന്നു വന്നിരിക്കുന്ന എല്ലാവരെയും വളരെ സ്നേഹപൂർവ്വം സെന്റ് ജേക്കബ്സ് പ്രൊഫസർഷിപ്പ് ഫണ്ടിലോട്ട് സ്വാഗതം ചെയ്യുന്നു. ബാക്കി കാര്യങ്ങളൊക്കെ പറയാൻ അറിയിക്കാം. എന്തെങ്കിലും നിങ്ങൾക്ക് ആവശ്യമുണ്ടെങ്കിൽ നിങ്ങളുടെ വോളണ്ടിയേഴ്സ് ഇവിടെ ഉണ്ട്. ആ കാര്യങ്ങൾ അറിയിച്ചാൽ മതി. ഇപ്പോൾ ഞാൻ ഈ സെഷൻ ലീഡ് ചെയ്തിട്ട് കാര്യങ്ങൾക്ക് വേണ്ടി അയക്കാം.
Morning, everyone. It's really happy to see you all here. ഞാൻ രാവിലെ ഒട്ടും തന്നെ നേരെ എടുക്കുന്നില്ല. I think I have an opportunity to talk to you all later on. So നമ്മൾ ഇച്ചിരി ലേറ്റ് ആണ്. So to keep the time, I would like to invite Dr. George Hermeth just to start with the session, and then I will have a conversation with you later on. Thank you.
So I can use this end. So great to see all of you. I was saying that for this training that we'll have, it's 2 portions. We'll have a first part, and then we'll have lunch, and then we'll move into the second part. Before getting into the content, I know many of you have handouts here. I wanted to first introduce myself as far as my background. and why I'm standing before you for this training. So I came to America. So I'm from Dallas, Texas. So we came to America. My family came to America when I was 5 years old. My parents came first. That was back in 1985. So we first came to Chicago and then moved to New York, and then we have been in Dallas since 1992. And growing up in the faith, my dad is a priest, Father Elias Ermatachin. So being a priest son had its own obligations and other things that came with it. But being able to grow up in the faith, I started off first being in the business world. I had gotten an MBA, but Sunday school was the reason that I went into teaching. So I was a Sunday school teacher. I first started in seventh grade. That was when I was 21 years old, somewhere around there. And when I started teaching Sunday school, I began to like teaching. And then I decided I'm going to switch to the teaching field. And I was a teacher for about 5 years in public education, and I'm currently working in a central office in the school district in Dallas. We do trainings for other teachers and other principals. So I'm in the talent development department. So happy to be here to do this training with you. This is a passion of mine to continue doing the training, but then also to help with the curriculum. So I'm the curriculum director. I say this so that you have a context of my background and where I'm coming from. So we will be talking about the curriculum, the newer books that we have, getting feedback on it. So all of these things will be things that we will discuss throughout the training. But the main thing I want to emphasize is teaching. You all decided to become a teacher and be a teacher and dedicate your time to that because there's something about teaching that you like. And we're going to talk about those things. So to start off, I have this reflection. And I wanted someone, I don't see your names. Do you have your name tags? Okay. Okay. So maybe if you keep your name tags towards me, I can see what your names are. That would be a little bit easier. Or, yeah, you can keep it somewhere where I can see so I can call on you. Some of you are probably not wanting to keep it then. Yes. Angelina, maybe I'll ask you. Angelina, if you can read this reflection that I have here of a Sunday school teacher. Okay. Forgot to give you the mic, but this reflection here is of a teacher, and they talk about this part here, serving church and serving Christ. That's what I hope that's a major reason why you have become a teacher, is that you're able to serve the church, and that with that comes, of course, serving Christ. It's a service that you're doing, being a teacher. There's a icon. This is a icon corner, and it's beautiful to see that in this church we have icons. It's not something we grow up in the Malankara tradition, so some of you it might be unfamiliar, but it's very much a part of our past, our history of having icons. And you see here, this is an icon corner that somebody had in their home that they shared a picture of online. I was like, oh, you see the icons, the different icons that are here. In our Orthodox tradition, we always have the practice of remembering the past, remembering those who came before us. When we sing the Kuklion in our service, those are the songs that starts off in between the Kurbana. The Kuklion, when we sing that, we sing those songs as we remember Saint Mary, as we remember the saints, as we remember the clergy, as we remember the departed, right? But what is the first song that we sing? Who do we remember first before Saint Mary, before the saints? Who do we remember? Kuklion starti What's the first song we sing? തിരുസുതരായി വരുവാൻ നമ്മെ. ആ പാട്ടിൽ ആരെ ഓർക്കണത്? Who specifically came before us? All the fathers that what? who taught us the faith, right? തിരുസുതരായി വരുവാൻ നമ്മെ അവരുള്ളപ്പോൾ പഠിപ്പിച്ച. In English, it says, in oblations and in prayers, mention we are blessed forebears who taught us this faith, right? Who are we remembering first? Teachers. Of course, your first teacher is who? Your parents. Of course, they're the ones that taught you the faith. They're the ones that showed you the faith, right? But we also remember teachers who taught us the faith. Of course, that includes saints and other people that have left the faith for us. But it also is the teachers who taught you. When we sing those songs before St. Mary, before the saints, before the clergy, we first remember our teachers. They're the ones that taught us the faith. So all of you are teachers, of course. And I hope you had a teacher that had an impact on you. It's Sunday school or outside of Sunday school. But when we sing that song, we should remember those who taught us the faith, because those are the ones that dedicated their time. And I say this because I want to start off at the start to say thank you for being a teacher. You are giving up your time to after Sunday to do this, and you're preparing the lessons before the Sunday. And we'll talk about those things in the lesson that we'll look at. But you're dedicating that time. After service, you can be easily going and drinking coffee and talking to people, but you gave up the time to teach a class and to volunteer to do that. So thank you for being a teacher and being that person that's there in front of the students. So I say that with gratitude. It's an important calling. So we're here to look at this teacher training. I'm not an expert teacher. Everyone can learn. Everybody can grow. But I'm going to share with you some skills around how we can be better teachers and the craft that's in front of us. And this is the objective for this time. And I call it a workshop more than a training here. I refer this to as a workshop. Hindu? Amai, right? Yes, Amai, if you can read that. So this is my job. This is my task for you today. This is the objective that I hope at the end of the 4 hours. I have 2 hours and 2 hours. It's like a Hindi movie. It's going to be taking a little bit of time. But hopefully this is a movie that you'll like and enjoy. But this is my task. At the end of the 4 hours, my task is to equip you as teachers with practical strategies. Practical meaning things that you can actually do to do what? What are the strategies focused on? To do what? Increase what? Student engagement and deepen learning, right? So I want to emphasize that. My task for my time here is I want to give you the tools so you can increase what engagement? Student engagement. Does it say teacher engagement? No, it says student engagement. So I want to emphasize that. So how can we do these strategies? I'm going to give you some strategies of how we can increase student engagement. And when student engagement increases, what happens? The learning is deeper, right? Versus sometimes the learning is just for that Sunday or just for that test. We want that learning to be deeper, right? So that's what my task is for you, to give you those strategies to increase student engagement and to deepen the learning. That's what we're going to be looking at. So in our time, there's 3 parts, as I mentioned earlier. Part 1 will be before lunch. What I'm going to do in this part 1 is I'm going to give you a demonstration of a lesson. You're going to be my students. All of you will be my students. I'm going to be the teacher. I wanted to model for you a lesson. It's not a perfect lesson. It's not the best lesson, but it's still a lesson I want to model for you. So I'm going to do a demonstration of a lesson. And then we're going to talk about, after that demonstration, 3 C's. And that's the thing that I want you to leave with after today, the 3 C's. What are those 3 C's? We'll talk about that. And then we'll have lunch. And then after lunch, we will be getting into smaller groups. And you're going to discuss and reflect on the lesson, what we did, and to share ideas on how we can create lesson plans. And you're going to share your ideas of how you increase student engagement. How do you deepen learning in your classroom? Share that. We have expertise here. Some of you may think I'm not an expert. I've only been a teacher 1 or 2 years, or don't consider me an expert. I will tell you, all of you are experts because you have seen teaching when? Since the childhood, right? You are all students, right? So hopefully you have a teacher that you remember that you were fond of and that you remember in a good way. So it might not be when you're teaching, it might be something that you learned as a student, somebody else doing. So I want you to share some of that advice with each other. We'll do some group activity. And then you will, at the end, towards the end of this, I wanted you to think about a lesson that's coming up, ideally tomorrow or maybe the next Sunday after that you can incorporate some of these things. Because whatever I tell you and share with you, if you don't start to do it, it's pointless. So I want you to practice what I'm asking you. So think about all the things that we do today. Think about a lesson, when you can incorporate it, what changes you can make as we go through this. So I'll demonstrate it for you, and then you'll reflect, and you'll have some time to lesson plan based on that demonstration and learn. And then in between, I will share a did you know curriculum info. Being a the curriculum director in our diocese, I'll share some things about the book and answer some questions as well in between. So that's my agenda. That's how I have the day planned out. Okay. So we're going to start off with the lesson. But before that, I have this graphic here. Look at this graphic. See if you can make sense of it. Let me give you 30 seconds to look at this graphic first. Look at this picture. What's the difference that you see here? What is this called? Anybody know what this term is called? There's two sides, right? One side is what? Growth, what is it? Yes, growth mindset. Yes, so you knew it. Yes. One is the growth mindset, and the other is fixed mindset. Fixed mindset versus growth mindset. This is going to be important for you coming to this training. We all should have what? Which one? Growth mindset, right? What does it mean with a growth mindset? That we can still learn, we can still get better, including myself. We all can get better and learn from each other, right? Fixed mindset is what? Well, I already know how to do this, George. I've been teaching for so many years. I'm good. I don't need any of this. It's not, I'm not the problem. Who's the problem? The students are the problem, right? Or I'm not the issue. What's the problem? The curriculum is the issue, right? Or I'm not the problem. The church is the problem, right? That's fixed mindset, right? I hope all of you have this growth mindset, no matter if you've been teaching 1 year or if you've been teaching 30 years. We can still learn. How students learn it has changed. It's different. Whatever you learned 30 years ago, many of those things you can still use. But there are many things that we have to develop and change. And I'm going to talk about that, and change is going to be difficult. But the challenge I'm going to give you is please have that growth mindset, not that lock that you can't open up, right? Please have that growth mindset that you can still learn. And whatever advice you have for each other, share that with each other and think about what changes I can make. So that's going to be important as we go through this. And I challenge you to please come with that growth mindset. I know that's why you're here, obviously. You have that mindset, but please think about that as we go through the content. So there's going to be two things that I will do. You will be talking with each other in between. So when you're talking and when I want to bring you back to the whole group, I'll do this countdown, 3, 2, 1. So when we get to 1, please quiet down so we can come back to the whole group. So I will do a 3, 2, 1, and then please come back when you're discussing. That's the easy way for me to come back to a whole group. And then we will have timers too. I'll put timers sometimes. So when the timer goes off, that'll be the time that we'll come back. I want this to be engaging. I want you to be talking. I want you to be sharing with each other. That's going to be important during our time. Okay. So we're going to go to this first part. We're going to start off with the lesson demonstration. Okay. So all of you have your lesson here. This is the lesson. It's 3 pages, so you just need the first 3 pages of this lesson here. So go ahead and grab those 3 pages. This is what we're going to be using for this first part. I am going to be your 6th grade teacher, okay? All of you are 6th grade students, okay? So in this demonstration, I'm going to have this beautiful class. Look at all these kids. What a big group, right? So I'm going to have multiple, I don't know how many there are, 20, 25 of you in my class here as 6th graders. I'm going to be the 6th grade class. This is going to be our classroom. Like, it's a very beautiful classroom. I know your classroom is not the same. I know it may be different. But we're going to pretend that this is a classroom as we're coming into this 6th grade lesson. This is the actual lesson from the book. Who is the 6th grade teacher? Ah, you, okay. Oh, a couple of you. Okay. So you guys may be familiar with this chapter from the book. So that we're going to do this lesson as a teacher coming into this classroom. Okay, so I'm going to go into my teacher mode, and you're going to be going into your student mode. Okay? And please be nice students. Yes. So as we do this exercise. Okay. Welcome, class. How are you? Great to see all of you for our 6th grade classroom. We're going to be doing our next lesson today, and I'm looking forward to this lesson because I want to start off by sharing something that I did as a family a few months back. So this is my family. I've showed you my family before, my wife and my kids, right? So we went on a trip. This was one of those trips that I really enjoyed. We went on this safari, and we went to the safari to see animals. And this is when we were going on this trip. And I love this trip because in this safari, we were able to see different animals. And at this part, I didn't really like. I was able to feed, that's my hand here. I was able to feed the giraffe. Giraffes have very long tongue. It was kind of sticky and gory a little bit, but I enjoy the safari because it's the opposite of a zoo, right? Because in a zoo, the animals are locked up. But in a safari, we're the ones locked up, right, in the car. So I like that the animals are able to be free. I enjoyed this time going on this trip. It was a memorable trip because I was able to be with my children and see the animals and feed the animals. It was a memorable trip, something that I found to be a joyful trip for me. So what I want you to do was to think about a trip or a journey that you took. It doesn't have to be far away. It can be close by. What is a trip that was memorable for you? Think about a trip that you had or a journey someplace with your family or friends that was memorable, that you remember. Talk to your partner. Share what that is. Go ahead and talk to your partner. Share what the trip was. Okay, let's come back. So I would just want one person. Somebody, maybe somebody who you heard somebody else share a trip that they had. Can somebody volunteer? Share something that you heard. Who wants to volunteer? It's a quiet classroom then, huh? Somebody's got something. Please share. What was the trip that you heard? Somebody, yes. Go ahead. Yes, your partner or something they shared, yes. So going to Quebec is a beautiful place, right? Yes. I have to say, when I'm here in Canada, beautiful place, right? And I especially enjoyed going to Banff. It's one of those spots. That's another place too. So great. So what we're going to do is to look at a journey, also a trip that two people had made. So if you grab your papers, let's look at this. If you look at this lesson, we're going to look at lesson 10. Lesson 10 is called what? Road to Emmaus, right? Road to Emmaus is the lesson that we're going to look at. So what we're going to do is to look at this journey. This is a trip that two people go on, and in that trip, somebody else joins them in between. And then we're going to find out who those two folks are that joins them afterwards. So I'm going to read that first part. I'm going to read that first part, and then I'm going to have you grab your pens as we read this first part. I'm going to have you underline a few things, okay? So we're going to look at this orange section here. Do y'all see the orange section? Let us learn about. Go ahead and point to that orange section. Everybody got it? Okay, great. So that's where we're going to read from, okay? So I'm going to read the first part, and then I'm going to have some of y'all read these other four portions. So let's look at that orange part. Let us learn about a memorable journey by two people and a unexpected visitor. Who's that unexpected visitor? We're going to find out, okay? So it says there, on the same day of Christ's resurrection. Underline that. Same day of Christ's resurrection. Underline that. It says on the same day of Christ's resurrection, and today is actually the Sunday after Easter. So it's actually the Sunday after Easter, so it's very appropriate. So same day of Christ's resurrection, two people were going from Jerusalem to a village called Emmaus. So underline that part. Jerusalem to a village called Emmaus. Okay, so you can maybe double underline Jerusalem and double underline Emmaus, right? One of them was Cleophas. Both of them were talking about the death and resurrection of Christ. Underline that part. Talking about what? The death and resurrection of Christ. So that's what they're discussing in this journey. While they were traveling, talking and discussing, Jesus came near and went with them, but they did not, what does it say? They did not recognize him, right? So you can underline that. They did not recognize him. So that's interesting. So where are they going from in this journey? From where? Jerusalem to? Yeah, Emmaus, however you may say it. If you look at that map, see that map shows the distance. Some of you may have to squint a little bit to look at it. But you can see where that circle is. It shows where Jerusalem and Emmaus is. And at the bottom of that map, you'll see a key. What's the distance between Jerusalem and Emmaus? Try to measure that. We'll use that key. What's that distance? Yeah, it's about 15 kilometers, right? So you can kind of see that. Do y'all see that? It's about 15 kilometers. Halfway of that thing there, the key. 15 kilometers. So if it's this place, I was asking somebody earlier, from here to the West Edmonton Mall. Who's been here to the West Edmonton Mall? Okay. So it's about the distance from here, this church, all the way to the West Edmonton Mall. That's about 15 kilometers, around roughly. So that's the travel. Imagine you have to walk there. That's the distance they have to walk, right? So that's their journey that they're going through. So what we're going to do as we look at this next part, we're going to find out what happens. I want you to look at those questions. Right? It says here, answer the following, 1 through 5. I want you to cross out number 2. Go ahead and cross out number 2. Number 2 is a bad question. I don't know who did this, who put these questions together, but go ahead and cross out number 2. So it's in the back of the first page. Back of the first page. Oh, actually, you have 2. It's not. You don't have front and back. So the second page. Cross out number 2. I want you to look at the other questions. 1, 3, 4, and 5, right? I want you to pick 2 questions that you're going to answer when we're going to read this section, okay? You circle 2 of them. You decide, whichever 2. Go ahead and circle 2 of the questions you're going to look for when we do this reading. So pick 2 of them. So Jamacha Jobin, what are we doing? Please repeat the direction. So whatever the two questions you circled. Everybody have two questions circled? You guys have it? Okay. Do you need a copy? Okay, please go ahead and circle two questions. I want everyone to do it. Yes, you need a copy. Yes. Let me. Okay, there's extra one here. Mhm. Okay, so those are the two questions you're going to answer. So you need to know those answers to those two questions as we do the reading. Okay, so everybody have that. Okay, so let's go back to the reading. I need 3 volunteers. I'm going to need 3 volunteers in this reading. We're going to have a narrator who will mention anything that they need to narrate. Then we're going to have Jesus as one of the readers. And then we're going to have the Cleophas or the men as a third reader. Okay? So who wants to be the narrator? One of the females. Somebody want to be the narrator? No, thank you for volunteering. Okay, you can be the narrator. Okay, great. Who wants to be the Jesus? How about you, Chamacha? Okay, you can be Jesus here. Who wants to be the other men? Okay, you're going to be the other men. Okay, great. Okay. So if it says Cleophas or both men, you'll read that part, okay? Okay. So we're going to read this together. Let's go ahead and listen to their conversation. So we're going to listen to their conversation. So go ahead and start. Jesus. Okay. So appreciate everybody reading that. So I want you to go back to the questions that you underlined, or the questions that you circled, sorry, the 2 questions. And I want you to write the answer to those 2 questions. Look back at the reading, write the answers next to those questions. You have some space there. And I want you to underline where you found those answers. Okay? So you're going to answer the 2 questions that you circled, and then I want you to underline where you found those answers. So let me give you a couple of minutes to do that. Finish up. I see some of you still writing, so let me give you maybe 10 more seconds to finish up. Again, you're writing the answers to your questions. Okay, great. I love the way that some of you were writing some of those answers and putting arrows to where it was. It's great to see you doing that. Before looking at the answers, let's look at this song here. I see this song that they put, this song that talks about what we just read, right? And I see, I know what this song is, the tune is, but okay, so we'll sing that together, okay? I know what that tone is. It's the Yajamanin Baduwanneram. We know that tune, right? So let's sing that together because this talks about this experience that they had. On the road to Emmaus, two disciples walked, and the Lord appeared, and he walked along with them. Those men did not. They said he was crucified. So if you listen to that, it's a beautiful song, right? This talks about this experience, right? That the men did not recognize who their Lord was. They didn't know who he was, but they recognized him when? When did they recognize him? When? Broke bread, right? If you look at that icon there, you see that icon there, that beautiful icon? You see that Jesus is there. And then on the right side, you can kind of see this. It says, what is the icon, the title of it? The supper at Emmaus, right? You see Jesus is there, then you see Cleophas. Who's the other person this icon says? It actually says what? Saint Luke. This icon says that other person was Saint Luke. Interesting. So there's church fathers who talk about this. Some of the church fathers say they don't tell us who the second person is because it can be any one of us. It can be us, right, in this journey. We don't know if he resurrected. We don't know if Jesus actually, we go through that, right? Did he resurrect, right? But this icon says St. Luke.